Phoenix here. Let's get straight into everything that happened in the midweek football. We'll start with the obvious one. Inter's treble hopes have come to an end to our biggest rivals. There's been a lot of talk surrounding this match. We haven't beaten them in 5 matches, which is absolutely crazy. But I want to set the record straight immediately with a few important stuff. Number one, there's Inter fans blaming the manager, holding him responsible. Find a different sport to watch because this one is not for you. If you think this is on the manager, you're absolutely delusional. Yet again, just like every single other Inter Milan game this season, the game went with Inter dominating, unable to score, Milan scoring with their first attempt in the entire match. I've been a football manager myself. I've managed on Football Manager time and time again. Managers cannot go on the pitch and put the ball in the back of the net for the team. They cannot do that. The responsibility of that lies with certain players. And there are certain players here, one in particular, which I'm not going to address by his name because I don't consider him an Inter player. Free transfer and we still got scammed. We needed a greater striker. We didn't bring a greater striker. We brought a striker who wouldn't even start for any other team in the league. Whether it's Parma, whether it's Venezia, whether it's Lecce, all their strikers start ahead of him. So what do you expect? Okay? Because these guys, as bad as they are, and they're sitting ninth, as bad as they are, their backup strikers, whether it's Jovic, whether it's Tammy Abraham, we can laugh at them, but at the end of the day, they're 10 times more competent than Taremi. We had an opportunity in January to bring in players. We didn't. This is what we deserve. We're fighting for everything. We've made 120 million from the Champions League alone this season, and we're still not spending the money. This is arrogance of the highest order, and this is exactly what you deserve. Matteo Darmian, at 35 years of age, is playing as a right wing back. He played 83 minutes yesterday. What can you expect? What can you expect? And I'm glad that Inzaghi immediately shut down this talk about tiredness. Tiredness. If I was earning 200k per week, I'd run a marathon every single day. Every single day. I don't want to hear anything about tiredness. Okay? Because, and again, I don't want to overreact here because these guys are bad. And we played better than them in the first half. Then sure, second half, ridiculous time wasting, everything. Dirty club. Conceição, congratulations. Honestly, I hope they win the trophy. They can go and win it if that means keeping him. A loser, subpar manager. But they ain't going to win. They're not going to win the trophy anyways. Speaking about losers, we cannot, unfortunately, not address the behavior of certain people in my chat yesterday. I said this a bit, but it's always the same story every single time. I've never seen such beta behavior, such loser behavior in my chat. For me, I would perfectly be fine with Milan fans coming in here yesterday, you know, making fun of us, even though they're ninth, whatever. Juventus fans, we'll get into those. But this concept of hate watching, when you have people who support clubs that have no association with my football club coming into my stream yesterday and acting and behaving the way they done yesterday, that is nothing short of disgraceful. And it perfectly sums up this generation down to a T. These are the same people who cannot even watch a 90-minute football match. They don't have the attention span to watch a 90-minute football match. These are the same people whereby if there's any other sport on, they would probably watch in that sport ahead of football because, oh, I'm bored of watching football matches. I watch football matches on TikTok. Simple as that. These are the same people who on Monday weren't watching Spurs versus Forest. They were watching the Ballers League. These are the same people that come into my chat yesterday and act the way they did. So I've already launched and am undergoing currently a full investigation. I've got people that are looking at the chat logs, both on Twitch, both on YouTube, and make no mistake about it, we will be proceeding with taking direct actions, because, like I said, I have always been nothing but honest and humble. I've never mocked any other club. I've been respectful. I am a humble football expert that just calls it like it is. That's it. So for people to act the way they did yesterday, when my club loses the way we did in a game like that, I get it. Football to you doesn't mean the same as it does to me. I get that. That is fine. That is perfectly acceptable. I get it. I am obsessed with the sport. I live and I breathe the sport. I've given everything to the sport. I've destroyed relationships with this over the sport to the point where, like, if we're going to be completely honest, yeah, I don't have friends. I don't hang out with friends. I wake up in the morning and the first thing I do is I work on a football game. Then I analyze football matches. Then I talk about football. Then I manage on football. I play football games. My entire life revolves around this, which is fine. So we're not the same in any way. That's perfectly fine. So when you see something like that happening yesterday, just think a little bit how you act. That's all. Then, of course, we did have some good news. We had some good news. Juventus lost to Parma. Shocking performance from Juventus. They claim they're back under their new manager. They didn't even create a single opportunity. It was incredible to watch. Absolutely pathetic. Lloyd Kelly, the reject from Newcastle, gets absolutely dunked on. And as a result, Juventus are now in big, big trouble for the top 4 race. And honestly, that's the only good thing I said on Sunday of Inter losing to Bologna was exactly that. We'll go all the way back to Monday with the Spurs Forest game as well. I had a draw here. Double chance Forest if there was a team more likely to win. I thought Spurs played well here. It was simply the goalkeeper mistake. They can't really hold Ange responsible in any way. I thought Spurs were the much better team, and sometimes it's like that football. We got unlucky. Not much to say about that. This one we got wrong as well, just like the Inter Milan game, and we are seeing where we made mistakes. As soon as I seen the 2 lineups, I was still very confident about Villa winning, but again, Watkins not starting. Rashford played well, but Watkins in his current form, he should be starting. And I know they got a fake up, but these are the certain decisions. Ultimately, it was Axel Disaster who came on against City and completely cost us the game, because people blame Emery for chucking him right back. I hear that, but at the end of the day, you're up against Doku. It's minute 90, and you go out to step out to try and approach and get the ball. I mean, this is complete lunacy of defending, and that's why I call him a disaster. But very, very impressed by Manchester City still, who, when I seen the lineup, I'm like, I mean, surely this ain't gonna work, but it did. And Pep is still finding ways to win important football matches when I thought they'd get dominated in midfield especially, but they didn't. It was far from it. Some fantastic performances, in particular from the left back here, Nico O'Reilly. Very, very special footballer. Then obviously our soon-to-be opponents in Spain, Barcelona. We got this game absolutely spot on, so I'm very proud of this 1-0. You know, it's not easy to spoil Barca matches and claim it's going to go under 1.5, but we did do exactly that, so the algorithm is still very much cooking on high heat. Now people will say, oh, but Barca had 40 shots. My key takeaway from this is Barcelona fans are getting very confident about them beating us because of what they seen yesterday. I seen you against Mallorca. I seen you against Celta Vigo. I see the problems. Make no mistake about it. It's not going to be easy on Wednesday if you think it is. I cannot wait. No Lewandowski. Ooh, they look dry. Ooh. But of course, a sensational performance from a very, very special footballer. What he was doing on the pitch on Tuesday was a sight to behold. This is what I mean earlier. The TikTok merchants, they're not going to appreciate this. You got to watch the match to really understand what was on display. Lamine Yamal, I thought, was unbelievable as well. But, and this is the key takeaway, in front of the net, there are still questions. You know, like, of course, can do everything, dribble, pass, cross, everything. But when it comes to in front of the net, there's a couple of questions still. And of course, the Mallorca keeper had a man of the match performance. But most of those, I mean, Yamal should have done better. He had plenty of shots in that game. But defensively, they played well. Hector Fort, I thought as well, should be starting ahead of Martin. But we'll see if Balde's back. But for the Copa del Rey final, for me, Fort has to start. And then, of course, I expect the rest of the team to be the usual ones with Koundé coming in, etc. Then the other game in Spain as well was the Real Madrid Getafe game, which I said 2-0. I said the Getafe won't score. It did go exactly, basically, roughly how I mentioned, but it was a tough game for Real Madrid. Very tough game. Courtois had a man of the match performance. Massive shout out to Arda Güler as well. He should have got so many more minutes this season. Ancelotti is, honestly, he's got a price to pay for that. Coward, the amount of minutes he's given to him and Endrick as well. Criminal. At the moment, Barca look much better than Real Madrid, but it's a final. I'll be analyzing the game and uploading the video tomorrow, telling you everything that's going to be happening in that one. And then the final game that we also watched, or kept an eye on rather, was the Arsenal Palace game, where again, and this is what I urge Inter fans to remain calm. I mean, the teams that we're fighting against here, like, some are better, but let's stay calm. I mean, these guys couldn't even beat Crystal Palace at home. The most sad excuse of title chasers I have seen. Just a bunch of cowards. And they're making mistakes. I make no mistake about it. It's an Arsenal team whereby, sure, they beat a terrible Real Madrid team and their friends are thinking they're going to go all the way and moonwalk this Champions League. Please, man. Nonsense. Complete nonsense. This was my midweek team of the week. I put Courtois in goal, like I mentioned. I thought he was fantastic. Mateus Nunes got that winning goal. Fantastic performance from him. I went with Araujo. I thought he looked much, much better than usual. Next to, of course, an ever-present player in these at the moment, Gvardiol, who in centre-back looks unstoppable. I put Fran Garcia left back. It could have been fourth as well, but I thought Fran Garcia was phenomenal. My two in midfield, Reindeers and, of course, Pedri. I went with Goleri, even though he played more central, kind of like a little bit of the right. Eze scored a fantastic goal off the left. And then up front, I went with Castellanos, who scored a fantastic goal for Lazio to keep them in the Champions League race. And next to him was... Then in the flops, Vicario cost Spurs the game. He cost me the spoiler. Simple as that. Shocking goalkeeping. Darmian, the less said, the better. William Saliba, keep an eye on this one. Attention, not his first mistake in recent times. Keep an eye. Lloyd Kelly, absolutely dunked on. DeMarco should be absolutely nowhere near the Inter starting 11. The only players for Inter that can leave with their head held high in that match was Bissek and Zalewski when he came on. He was actually trying to get past his man. DeMarco provides absolutely nothing. I told you since day one he's overrated. He shouldn't be starting neither against Roma nor against Barcelona. Most definitely not against Barcelona, because if it's Yamal versus DeMarco, the tie is over before it starts. Odegaard in midfield got absolutely bullied for the goal. No Capitan, that's for damn certain. Barella had a very unorthodox, poor game from him. Very rare appearance. We won't see him here again, I'm certain. Nico Gonzalez for Juventus, 50-40 million, whatever it was, down the freaking drain. Trashinelli, Arsenal fans thinking, Martinelli's back, Martinelli's this, blah, blah, blah. Terrible player. And the two up front, Colomwani and he who shall not be named.